Dot, 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 dot. Good morning, you lovely people. It's an awesome, awesome morning. And I'm so happy and grateful to be here with you today. Super pumped for today's lesson. I hope you get as much out of it as I get out of it today. I hope that it blesses you a little bit because it was rich. And I'd start with, you guys know we're going to have an awesome lesson. You know we're going to have other news, but I'm going to start with a cup of gratitude, and it's this. I'm so happy and grateful for my personal study this morning. It was rich. And I mean rich. It just lifted me up a little bit. So I want to share briefly how you beat the Mondays. And I think the Mondays are actually a symptom of a root thing. And I'm not going to say issue. I'm not going to say problem, because I think what we call the Mondays, I think what we call existential dread is actually a hint at a higher purpose, at a mission. But we've got to be able to enter the cave and wrestle down what we call existential dread. Too often, the feels that we have, when you have some downtime, when you have a good Sunday and you got some downtime and you listen to your inner voice, sometimes the feelings and emotions are so big they scare you. Can you feel me there? Sometimes the feelings and emotions are so big they scare you, and you just want to distract yourself. You just want to jump away to Netflix or read a book or run with friends or do some other form of business when all week long, all you can think about is downtime. This cycle's got to stop, but we're petrified that if we have too much downtime, we'll get too existential. We'll look at ourselves. So I want to talk a little bit down below about the value of the Mondays, the value of existential dread, and the hint it's nudging you at, and ways to go into the cave safely and wrestle those Mondays down, wrestle the existential dread down, not as an opiate to continue a life that might be a little mediocre for you, but as a way to face the feelings and the emotion you need to face so that you can take a new level, so that you can graduate. We're going to talk about that in the lesson. Before that, we've got other news. And so what I'm grateful for this morning, do you have your cup of gratitude? Are you here? Are you ready with me? Please pull up that warm cup of coffee or that warm tea. Bring it to us and share with me what you're grateful for. I'll tell you what I'm grateful for this morning. I'm grateful for a rich study. I've said that already. Do you make enough time in the morning for quiet time? Do you make enough time in the morning to set your head straight? Man, I hope you do. It enriches me, and it at least empowers me to be the best I can be at this season in my life for the people I care about. So do us a favor this morning as we launch into other news. If you know someone who wrestles with the Mondays, if you know someone who wrestles with existential dread, do me a favor. Stop right now and share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, click share and tag a friend or tag someone's name in the comments so that they can be blessed as we get through other news and jump on as we touch on dealing with existential dread and sharing with you what I got a little bit out of my quiet time this morning. Let's talk about other news. Okay, here we go. So in other news, Bitcoin hits an all-time high overnight. Yes, it hit $58,000. That's 58000. I remember when I bought Bitcoin when it was under like $500 and it went to like $800. And I'm like, oh, dang, I got to get my moolah out. And then I think around $2,000, I sold out. Brittany says, I'm grateful for today for my morning reading as well. Brittany, in the comments, give us a glimpse of what you're studying and what's enriching you. We'd love to hear what's enriching the lovely Brittany Welchel. So yes, Bitcoin did hit $58,000 this morning. Now, I'm not necessarily bringing this up to push you to pump Bitcoin, not at all. You see, Tesla invested about $1.5 billion in Bitcoin at some point in the near past. And it has turned out on the books that Tesla has made more in its Bitcoin play, over $1 billion, than it made in its entire car sales last year. Is that good or bad for the books? I don't even know. Who knows what it's going to do to the stock? But it is interesting. When asked if if Bitcoin was the bee's knees, everyone knows that Elon Musk is big on Dogecoin. When asked if he thought Bitcoin was the bee's knees, he said, listen, I'm not telling you Bitcoin is a stable investment. I'm not telling you it's like the future of money. Maybe it is and maybe it isn't. What I'm telling you is that it's a bit less stupid than cash. That's a good quote, and it's true. It's just a bit less dumb than cash. Everyone with money knows that cash in the bank is the worst place for it. Money is a currency, and as such, it was meant to flow. And in this case, Tesla's betting on Bitcoin. I'll drop this here in the comments for you for those who care about the business side of this. That Tesla's bet on Bitcoin paid off a little bit to the tune of $1 billion and has just helped that company with cash surplus. If they were cash flush before, they're even more cash now. That is one piece of other news. Let's talk about mindfulness, transcendence, and non-self-centeredness. So you guys know that we talk a lot about meditation, my friends. And I know for Brittany and Adam and myself, at different seasons in life, large volumes of transcendent or Vipassana meditation has made massive impacts in all of our lives. It's led to many other things. And is it the elixir of life itself? I don't know if it's the elixir of life itself, but it might be a threshold or a vial that holds the elixir of life of sorts. It's been very powerful. And if you're not on the meditation train, if you haven't added meditation to your toolbox, I cannot emphasize it enough. Start with Vishen Lakhiani's 6-phase meditation. Just Google it on YouTube. It's a fantastic start to meditation. Marissa's done a 10-day meditation retreat. I believe both Adam and Brittany have done Vipassana meditation retreats. We could all testify that it is a powerful tool. Should you sit in meditation the rest of your life? Of course not. Should you participate in meditation the rest of your life? Of course. So we know, and it's solid evidence of the benefits of anxiety, the benefits of lowered cortisol, the benefits of better relationships when we have a practice of meditation and mindfulness. It's proven. But a latest study has come out that has focused on transcendent meditation or transcendental meditation. And there's a specific aspect here that we're going to touch on in the lesson below. And that is how to be and feel connected. How to feel connected to, I don't know, anything. Yourself, the world, other people, nature, society. How do you feel connected? And there's a large feeling of dis-ease and disconnectedness in people at large. Yes, this will play into our lesson today about the Mondays and existential dread. But every person is unique and individual. They have a unique story. But most people are feeling a great degree of disconnectedness, and then they therefore project from their personal story. They look back at their personal story and think, when did I feel most connected? And then they project, well, whatever gap I'm feeling in connection, I will get by X, Y, and Z, my kids, my family, nature, you name it, surfing, whatever it is, and we try to Band-Aid our sense of disconnectedness. In this latest research, they found that transcendental meditation, it is a type of meditation. Here we go, putting this in the comments. It's a type of meditation where when you go into your meditation space and when you calm yourself and when you relax, you actually close your eyes and you visualize. You're just imagining, literally just imagining. You visualize yourself outside of your body and you become an observer of your body, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your past, your goals. You guys know with State of the Spark, it's all about sparking vision. It all starts there with big goals. But my hope is that those goals are not the fulcrum by which you get fulfillment in the world. I hope those big goals are the focal point by which you manage your day and your life, and it gives you a mile marker to draw yourself to and draw yourself forward into a contributing citizen of the world. But my hope is that you have the ability to look outside yourself and observe yourself as a transcendent being and observe your thoughts, feelings, emotions, your anxieties and worries of the past and your thoughts about the future. And you have a bit disconnectedness as you observe those things. Yes, transcendental meditation allows you to observe those things and have a lowered response, and just in a visualizing activity. That's what transcendental meditation is. It allows you to step outside yourself and experience your past, your desires about your future, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions without reacting. And lo, what is the result? And the research shows, if you click the article, the research shows that when you kind of re-enter your body, you basically come out of meditation. Whenever you encounter other people, you actually see yourself and observe yourself as others do and tone down any reactions you might have. Transcendental meditation itself helps in a large way engage with the world and other people in a more connected way. Those who went through transcendental meditation in this study reported a higher degree of connectedness. To what? To everything. To themselves, to nature, to their world. It allowed them to notice more, to see more things. This is a powerful research. You got to check this out. And I do heavily encourage you to practice meditation, but also to explore transcendent meditation. Grant, is there a connection between this piece of other news and today's lesson about the Mondays? You bet. Let's explore it. Before we move on, Brittany jumps in and says, she just finished David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. You want to talk about a meditation of just endurance? Read or listen to David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. It is powerful. I have not read The Slight Edge, though this has been recommended to me by many people. I have read Atomic Habits. Phenomenal. You definitely got to read Atomic Habits. I don't even think I'm finished. I'm listening to the audiobook right now, and it has led a lot of my ideas, my current updated ideas about goals. Make Your Bed is a powerful story about how making your bed actually can help you with existential dread, and we'll get into that. Living with a Seal. So Jesse Iserler, he's a guy married to the Spanx billionaire. He actually hired David Goggins, and this book is what got David Goggins on the scene for his own book, Can't Hurt Me, about living with a seal and extreme ownership. I am dying, by Jocko Willink. I am dying to read Extreme Ownership. An obvious strengthening my self-discipline theme before I switch over to diving into some leadership topics. And Brittany, boy howdy if I don't follow you down this train, because I am feeling it's spring outside. I'm feeling a renewed sense of spring myself. And that in Spark Vision, it is a renewed sense of vision, a renewed sense of spring. And that's part of the Spark cycle. And I am feeling this myself. Girding myself is something that I've been saying lately, Brittany. So I'm echoing that. Tightening down, buckling down, fasting, prayer, workouts, really toughening up on myself in prep for what's next. And that is facing, in part, the Mondays in existential dread. Let's do this thing, guys. So a lot of people, whether or not you are in the Gary Vaynerchuk camp, is never have a Monday again. Basically, these people who are TGIF and they hate the Mondays, it's because they hate the life they've built for themselves. And in broad strokes, we could say that's true. But as an empathetic person, you and I realize most everyone experiences to some degree the Mondays. Or sometimes the Sundays. I'd sometimes get the Sundays blues. And I consider this what philosophers call existential dread. We call it the Mondays for short. Often it feels like, oh, I don't want to do anything. I'm going through the motions and I hate my life. That feeling that you need to change something dramatically. I've got to move. I've got to leave. I've got to be somewhere else. I've got to do something else. I just want to tear the Band-Aid off and do something else with my life. Or if I don't, I'm going to miss out on being who I'm supposed to be. I'm going to live in this continued sense of disconnection from myself and my world, possibly. So there's this angst, there's these emotions, there's these neurochemical soup in your brain for some reason that's causing you to feel that if you don't change something dramatic, you're going to miss out on being who you are. Let's pause there. This weekend, Marissa and I saw the movie Land. There is something so magical that draws me and Marissa to the mountains, to the ocean, to nature, to Marissa's hikes, to me sitting outside and just listening to the wind. No, I don't like to hike the way Marissa does. Yes, I love camping. I love being outside. I love the summer we spent in Breckenridge. I love the year we spent on the beach in the Dominican Republic. There is something truly magical about getting away and disconnecting from society and the world and connecting to the land. There is something magical about this perception of finding yourself among aspens and pines and snow. The main character was asked in the movie Land, and I highly encourage you watch it. Fantastic film. The main protagonist was asked, "Why did you want to come up to the mountains?" And she responded, "I wanted to notice more. I want to notice more." To me, this cries of feeling connected. And when I asked Marissa, what did you like so much about this film? What's so appealing about this film? She said, "I want to feel more connected." You know, I often ponder this idealization we have, whether it's an Instagram feed, and we see someone living a life in nature. Oftentimes when we envy someone else's life, they're doing something in nature. I don't care if it's the latest fancy bikini photo from a Kardashian. It's often the fact that they're swimming in the Mediterranean somewhere. I don't care if it's the latest hot it couple in Moab, Utah. It's the fact that they're on mountain bikes and in nature. There's something we idealize. And I wonder what that is. There's a craving for connection. A lot of us blame society, our daily living, the life that we live more often than not, for our sense of disconnectedness. And when we get a weekend to unwind, and when we get a Saturday to unwind and we decompress, slowly these feelings that we feel come up. And this is where existential dread comes from. We have a contrast. We're busy all week, and then we slow down on a Sunday, and existential dread comes in. So we feel like we're in the wrong place. We want to come up with an escape plan, a plan to leave. But when we count the cost, we start to get afraid. When we count the cost of maybe we should leave, maybe we should buy an RV, maybe we should sell our whole life, and then you start counting the cost. What, and start over with our friends group? What, and start over with our small business? The small symbols of society, of things that we've put together, start to creep up, and we feel trapped by our own values, and it compounds the Mondays. It compounds the existential dread. And that feeling, those negative feelings, the fear, the anxieties, and the worries that just thinking about what we really want, it's just a little too much inside of our brain. So we shut it away. We binge. We dive into work on Monday, and we shake off the Mondays, and it's the work we know and the world we know. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. The safety from our own thoughts, the cave of our mind we want to run from, and the busyness of the week gives us purpose. My kids, they just give us purpose. It's some way to interact with the world in a way that I don't have to go into the cave that frightens me. Me and Marissa's road trips of yesterday, you guys know that me and Marissa have taken massive road trips that we've let you follow along. Sometimes we ended up in the Dominican Republic on one. Sometimes we ended up living in New Mexico for 2 months with the total hippie crew building homes out of tires. You guys have seen us do this, and I'm telling you, the first few weeks, I really struggle, and Marissa knows, because I've been hiding from my most existential positive thoughts, and the dread is the fear of where those thoughts might lead me. I heard a great quote this weekend in my personal study, part of this rich study that I'm sharing with you, and it's this: "The cave you are afraid to enter is the one that holds your treasure." The cave that you are afraid to enter is the one that holds your treasure. Muhammad Yunus, follow me here. The cave that you are afraid to enter is the one that holds your treasure. Muhammad Yunus, as a young man, was a poor Bangladeshi. He hated the poverty of Bangladesh, so he felt this existential dread waking up of this fight for poverty. I've seen this in Haiti firsthand. Marissa and I have seen this in Haiti firsthand. When many people wake up in poverty, they wake up and think, why should I get out of bed? And then they think about their family, their kids, and they drag themselves through existential dread and go hustle that day. Muhammad Yunus was sick of it. So he was afraid to leave, but he did follow his fear and left to the United States and went to school in the United States, got master's degrees in economics and business degrees from some of the finest universities in America. And as his schooling was ending, he started thinking, what shall I do next? And this existential dread, this massive form of the Mondays came into him as he thought about going back to Bangladesh. But he decided to go into that cave. He went into that cave and returned to his home country of Bangladesh and began teaching economics at university because he saw the poverty and said, I want to make an impact. So he began teaching in the halls of the university, economics and business. But they felt kind of hollow because as he would leave his very classroom as a high-paid professor, he would walk into the streets of Bangladesh and see the waif figures of skeletal Bangladeshis begging for food and realized what I am teaching in the halls of economics is puff and smoke, is not helping people. Lisa Welsh says, I got way too many caves, but I most certainly will jump in life if so moved. I love that. Admitting that you have caves of fear, caves of past hurts that you just don't want to go into, but the cave you're most afraid of is the one that holds your treasure. So Muhammad Yunus, so moved, did not want to get involved with the Bangladeshis of the poor. He had fought so hard for his standard of living and for his way of life. It could be at risk, but he was so disturbed that we could be teaching economics and people starving from lack of economics, real economics, that he was moved. He went into the neighborhood next to the university and found a lady making bamboo stools. How much do you make? He said. It came out to about 2 cents American a day. How are you going to get ahead? He asked. How are you going to get ahead? He asked. And she said, I don't know. He said, how much does your bamboo cost? She said, 20 cents a day. He said, you owe the bamboo dealer 18 cents a day? She said, yes. So he went to the bank and he absolutely asked, he said, can we get a loan for these people? It's just 18 cents a day, 20 cents a day, and then this person could get ahead, and they wouldn't lend because of credit. I think some of you know this story. Muhammad Yunus actually lent the people money himself. And now to this day, we have the Grameen Bank. Hear me on this. Grameen Bank lends $4 billion US a year to Bangladeshis, averaging less than $200 per loan, and they have a higher payback rate than American loans. People don't know this. In America, the payback rate on loans is less than 15%. With Grameen Bank, it's higher than 90%. Muhammad Yunus went into the cave that scared him and found his treasure, the impact he wanted to make in the world. Let me tie this together for you for a Monday to overcome your Mondays. We should listen to the voice of existential dread. This is how you overcome it. The cave calling us to face some fear of our own, to draw us into our own hero's journey. You see, when you feel existential dread, dread is the knowing that you will not heed the call. Dread is knowing that you will not heed the call. It's the dread of doing life as normal. I believe it's the calling of capital L, life, God, calling you to something more. But the existential dread, the fear we face, though we might need to travel, though we might need to run, though we do need to change things, I think the bigger lesson, whether it's going to land and going to a cabin far away, or in Marissa's case, hiking the PCT, or in my case, finishing building my business, whichever one, I think the lesson is how to face life with grace. Thich Nhat Hanh, which also came from my study this morning, said, the miracle bigger than walking on water is walking the earth. Hear me on this on a Monday. The miracle bigger than walking on water is walking the earth. And the message is, wherever you need to go to learn the lesson, wherever you need to go to learn the lesson of living, go there and do it. Not because there's answers there, but because you need to enter the cave. Not as an opiate. You need to know how to stand with grace and face just the pain and struggle of living, or you need to follow your calling into the woods to face that there are no answers there either. The answers are inside of you. And when you find out and accept that the answers are inside of you, you will finally be connected with a deep sense of joy and gratitude right where you stand. This quote, "The cave you fear is the cave that holds your treasure," is the cave of Anakin Skywalker. On Dagobah, the Dagobah system with Yoda, when he faces Darth Vader, cuts off the head and only to reveal that it's himself. Do you remember what Yoda said to him? Yoda said, he said, "What's in there?" He said, "Only what you bring in with you." And then Luke Skywalker picks up a sword and Yoda says, "You don't need that." And the fear is so great that Luke brings it anyway. I present for your consideration, be better than Luke Skywalker. Enter the cave with nothing but gratitude. Because I don't think Luke would have faced Darth Vader if he didn't bring his sword. I think he would have faced himself, and it would have been abundant. But he brought his fears into the cave, and we know what happened to Luke. I think how you face the Mondays, how you face existential dread, is realizing that whether you're on a hiking trail, whether you're following Instagram influencers and living the IG life, or whether you're going to your same old job, that you need to do it starting in one place. And here's my answer. Here is how you always beat. That's all context. Here's how you beat it. And you're going to think it's absolutely silly. You started with a warm cup of gratitude. If you watch the show at all, you know that I believe in gratitude. You think it's just a fun little segment I start the day with? No, it's not. You see, what does gratitude lead to? Follow this. Gratitude, and I mean a deep spiritual sense of gratitude. I mean, I'm just happy and grateful. You need an affirmation, but in a gratitude that's subtle. You see, this character in the movie Land said, "I came up here to notice more." Muhammad Yunus walked outside his university. He was in the bustle of a city, and he said, "I need to notice more." Gratitude is a deep spiritual sense of gratefulness for what you have, not as an opiate to lull you into mediocrity. You see, we're trying to fight this cobwebs of the mediocrity of the jobs we hate and the life we hate. And we want to fight that. And we think the way to fight that is to get away from it. The way to fight it, the way to graduate into the trail you want to hike, into the escape plan we need to make, into the promotion you want. The way to fight is a massive sense of welcoming the cave, a massive sense of not dealing with existential dread. It's dread when you fight it. It's existential gratitude when you accept it. It's doing something counterintuitive, and that is being completely okay in it. Not now the fear, and here's the catch-22. The fear is that if I accept it for what it is, I'll be stuck in it. You're stuck in it because you don't accept it. Gratitude, the deep spiritual sense of gratitude where you can walk down the sidewalk and see the leaves, where you can hear the noises of humanity and appreciate it, when you can look people in the eyes, gratitude. That is the miracle, not walking on water, but being able to walk the earth no matter where you're at. And gratitude. Gratitude leads to presentness. Presentness is the act of doing, capital D, doing whatever it is you're doing. I mean, doing it, to focus on it, to do it well, to leave it better. I'm not talking about detail orientation necessarily. Sometimes you just got to be you, but doing you, whatever it is you're doing, whether in the woods, whether serving a poor Bangladeshi, whether working in your job, whether building your escape plan. Presentness is only possible from a heart of gratitude. Presentness leads to noticing. Noticing allows you to engage, to connect with capital L living, to notice the person with need in their eyes, to notice the trees as they sway, to notice the needs of your business clients, to notice the needs of your manager who's been holding you back from that promotion. And if you can notice their need, if you can notice her need and meet it, you might be able to co-elevate it. Noticing leads to feeling joy, feeling free from the worries of the past, feeling free from the anxieties of the future. Yes, I believe in goals and vision, but not anxiety in what's hopeful. And then anchor yourself, feeling free in the moment that you have a direction, feeling free in the moment that you are going somewhere. This feeling of joy is the final blow to dread. It's the final throat punch to the Mondays. Because you accepted existentialism, you allowed yourself to feel gratitude. You allowed yourself, therefore, to be present. In presentness, you allowed yourself to notice. Notice people, notice eye contact, notice moods, notice the world, notice the trees, notice things around you. And that allowed you to feel alive. If you can't learn this lesson in your daily life, do what it takes to go learn this lesson in the woods. But it's not about the woods. Do this learning on an island in the Dominican Republic, but it's not about an island in the Dominican Republic. Learn this from a hobby you pick up, but it's not about the hobby. It's about being able to move in and out of all of it, feeling alive. This is how Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning was able to find meaning in a concentration camp. The miracle is not walking on water, it's walking the earth. Feeling, though it is the final death punch to dread, it leads to doing in a more abundant way. Doing self-discipline, fasting with joy, not fasting and, I got to fast and cut back food. Fast to cultivate self-discipline. It allows you to do the workout you've been neglecting, not by, man, I got to pull myself up on my bootstraps, but from a heart of freedom. I get to do these things. I am free, so I get to do my job. I get to serve my clients. I get to shape my escape plan. I get to refine my budget to do that new investment. I get to move to the woods, not I have to. And doing in a more abundant mind way leads to the final fulfillment. Fulfillment wherever you're at. Fulfillment in whatever you're doing. Fulfillment. Fulfillment in feeling dignity that you were able to step up into what you wanted naturally. We could force ourselves into a good diet routine. We could force ourselves for Operation Find My Abs. Why? It's supposed to come from a heart of freedom. In freedom, you do it naturally because your ideal self is your natural self, and it's who you were called to be in the first place. You're just freeing yourself to be who you are. And this is what the Hindus call the releasing of the sanskaras. This is what Christianity, when it says laying it down. Lay it down. I hope that this is actually a helpful process. Gratitude, a deep sense of gratitude, leads to presentness. True presentness, to do what it is you actually are doing. If you're reading, then please just read. If you're fellowshipping, then please just fellowship. If you're working, be the best worker you ever could. And when you clock out, be the best individual you ever could. And when you get on the hiking trail, be the best hiker you ever could. And when you're writing your escape plan, write the best escape plan you ever could. Presentness leads to noticing. Noticing leads to feeling with joy. Joy leads to doing more abundantly. And doing more abundantly leads to fulfillment. You don't need to travel around the world, but if you do, then go do it. I think Emerson said, traveling right is traveling around the world and returning to where you started and finding yourself for the first time. That's what we mean. How do you overcome the Mondays and existential dread? Welcome them and infuse that cave with gratitude, and the rest starts to fall together. I love you. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I'm going to go off and enjoy time with my wife. Remember, if you want to talk more about things like this, join us at the Facebook Goals and Gratitude group. If you need any support at all, man, always visit us at stateofthespark.com. Share this video with someone who needs it today. I love you. Have a fantastic day and try to level up today. Remember the mission, igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a grateful